You will quickly figure out that I'm not a native English speaker, so I'm still learning a lot. I don't know what Black Angus hero means. So, but let me be your hero for the next 10 or 15 minutes, all right? Who comes up with these names? I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, what I wanted to do is just to start that this feels like family to me. It really does, because I walked into this room in the morning and I saw so many familiar faces. Faces that have visited CareDx in San Francisco. Faces that have been helpful in making a transformation happen. I'm standing here presiding over CareDx. When I joined, it was 50 individuals having a common goal, changing and transforming the care of transplant patients. And within the last 9 months, we are now caring for 1% of all kidney transplant patients in the United States. The goal is to make this a 20, 30, 40%. And I believe in meetings like this. This is where it all happens. Because David, when you will be asked, how should you be caring for your condition, and somebody says, let's get a biopsy, I want you to ask, hey, can I get an AlloSure? Because a simple blood test can inform if there's injury to your graft. And I'll talk a little bit about this today. So very exciting moment for us as a company, which is entirely focused on improving long-term organ transplantation care. Right now, everybody worries about 1 year graft survival. No. We want you to do well after 5 years, after 10 years, after 15 years. And many that I'm talking to, well, they're on their second kidney transplant. And long, long years to go. So let's talk about long-term survival for kidney transplant patients. How do you improve this? You need to have better matches. So having diagnostics that help you to match organs to recipients, and then do better surveillance, care for them throughout the lifetime of the patient, that will lead to better long-term outcomes. And that's what CareDx does. We have diagnostics, simple blood tests, that allow you to match organs to recipients, and then we care for patients after transplantations. We do that with a list of products, very strong product portfolio. When I joined the company, we had one product, which is a leading heart transplant product. It's already used in 50% of all heart transplant patients in the United States. And this strong foundation gave us the opportunity to move into the pre-transplant space, and now we're launching the AlloSure and AlloSeq franchise, which is the long-term future for the company. Now, on the left-hand side, you see Captain Anthony Robinson. The first day that I joined the company, I told people, don't listen to me, listen to Captain Anthony Robinson. He's a transplant recipient. He's the head of the fire station of San Francisco Airport. If you ever land in San Francisco Airport, the person who sits on the red button allows you to land, that's Captain Anthony Robinson, a transplant patient. He's managed with our solution. So these are real transplant patients, you know that? They're part of our community. And each of these individuals that you see down there have a very different role. One of them is a banker that helps us to finance the company. He's also a transplant patient. And I'll end this with, it feels like family. We're building a family. Our theme is, it takes a village. And we really build a very strong village. Now, what we're doing is we're applying next-generation sequencing technology to the field of transplant care. Right? And many of you might have seen the 23andMe and the Ancestry.com. Maybe some of you even did a test. Right? If you're a transplant recipient, the test will not be as accurate if it's a blood test. You might have done a buccal swab. But if you now know that you're 15% Norwegian or 30% German or whatever, that's really valuable information for your picture book. But what's really exciting is that we can use the similar technology and do DNA sequencing not only on the recipient, but also on the transplanted organ. And that's what CareDx does. We're applying the similar technology, but on a very, very high value information component. This technology is really transforming diagnostics because it allows us to have so much more information. And we're doing this now with AlloSure. It's a simple blood test. It measures organ injury. It detects active rejection. Doesn't give you a Banff criteria, but it detects active rejection. And it enables better management of kidney transplant patients. We got Medicare reimbursement in October last year, and since then, many transplant centers have already adopted the test. What we do is we're using the sequencing technology of the organ, which you see here in red, and we're using the sequencing technology of the recipient. If you see a lot of DNA in the bloodstream, there's a lot of injury. So a lot of red means a lot of injury, not good. What's much more often the case, by the way, is if there is only little cell turnover, you're healthy, no rejection. So I call this the green line patient. And I'm very excited about the green light patient because those patients might be the patients where we optimize immune suppressive therapy. Yeah? So this is not only a test that allows you to detect rejection, it also allows you to think, this patient is doing well. Can I back off on some of the immune suppressive therapy? Some of you are talking about their high steroid levels. Right? Should all patients be on high steroid levels 2 years after transplantation? Maybe we can change that. Good. Very simple blood test. I did want to show that the test works. It's accommodating and well validated. On the right-hand side, you see serum creatinine as a marker for rejection. And many of you know that have been done multiple serum creatinines. It's really a bad marker for rejection. Most of the time, what happens? Drink more water, come back next day, do another test, right? All right. So serum creatinine is not a good test, which we demonstrated in our studies. AlloSure is really differentiating rejection to no rejection. What's changing the field? What's changing really the field is standardized surveillance and compliance to that surveillance. We have launched a clinical trial, which we'll do in 35 centers in 1,000 patients. Follow up over 3 years to establish a ARTS surveillance schedule. All these centers, it's already within 6 months, 27 have already joined. That's phenomenal. In transplantation, you get never 27 centers to do something and agree on the same thing. So 27 centers have already joined and follow that routine surveillance schedule, which is a very standardized way of measuring and collecting data points. We are a bit of geeks as well. So there is a lot of science. There are a lot of clinical trials. This is just a page to tell you we're spending a lot of money on clinical trials because we believe in advancing the science. All this is very early still. There's lots to learn. And how do you learn? You do that by doing clinical trials. So a big thank you to all of you that are supporting us by being part of clinical trials, because that's the way how we're advancing the field. I did mention it takes a village. It takes a village when you want to care for patients. You know that without your loved ones, without the caregiver, without the clinician, with all these different individuals, it wouldn't happen. And we'd love to be part of that caretaking team. When you launch a product, believe it or not, it takes a village. A village within the organization. There are many, many people involved in making that available and successful. And then building a great company, it takes a village. I told you, we were 47 individuals at one time in the company. Now we're 250. And we're trying to grow every day. So we're building a great company in order to bring future products to you and others. One thing that we're very proud of is when it takes a village, you also want to go beyond the direct product offering. Do I believe that AlloSure is a significant contribution? Absolutely. But I think we can also make a contribution by seeing needs in the field. And what we saw as a need in the field is that, private companies should also contribute to the shortage of organs. Why don't we issue a policy that makes sure that any employee does not have negative consequences if they are a donor. And it was so great to hear that 6 months after we had announced our policy, that also the federal government is now clarifying that. And I would just invite all public companies and private companies and enterprises to also adopt a policy. It's a very simple policy, very simple one-page policy that allows employees to donate and not facing negative consequences of having to take a leave. I'm extremely privileged to be part of a tremendous team. I invite you to come to South San Francisco, and especially in winter. I think this is a great place to be, by the way. It's an incredible organization and very talented individual, and I'm very proud to be part of that. In summary, already 1% of all US kidney transplant patients are using our technology. If I had stood here 12 months ago, nobody would have believed it. The investment community didn't believe it. 5 years ago, nobody believed it. When CMS reimbursed us, I've just come from a meeting where 4 or 5 companies are saying, oh, we want to do the same thing that you're doing. And that's the best way to keep us and the team and the field moving. Great competition. So CMS did a great thing. They reimbursed our test, and they reimbursed it nicely. I have to say, they reimbursed us nicely, because I think they sent a signal that if you do the right work, 5 years to develop this diagnostic test, and you do it right, we will also incentivize you. And suddenly, the field is now booming. We are now one of the highest valued diagnostic companies in the world. 2 years ago, we were one of the lowest value diagnostic companies in the world. Right? When you take the revenue to our value, we were one of the highest valued companies. So that is possible because of you and the dedication of a small company. Now, more than 70 centers have already used AlloSure. Right? This is the 6 months data. I'm not allowed to talk about the third quarter yet. Yeah? So I ask you, you probably know what's your serum creatinine. Right? You probably know. Yeah? What we'd like to move the field is not only what's your serum creatinine, but also what's your AlloSure score. Because if it's at 0.25%, guess what? You're good. If it's north of 1%, let's do more checkups. Thank you very much for your attention. Really appreciate it.